if you don't already have it in front of you. I'm going to take a few minutes to go over a couple things with you, and then April's got a training for you tonight. So much going on. I don't even know where to start, but I don't want to be too repetitive with things you may already know or have seen. But the first thing, since this is the first time we're gathering since we did our launch last week, whether that, I don't remember if that was Tuesday or Wednesday, but last week, I just want to personally just congratulate everybody, because you did a really, really good job. We had 55 people on it, and half of them were guests. And as of today, 8 of those guests have already joined up, enrolled, whether it was customer or consultant. So, and that'll lead nicely into April's going to be talking to you some, do a good training on follow-up. So she'll be going into some other things with you. But, I don't know if anyone that was on last Sunday that promised to have 5 guests. I asked everybody to commit to having 5 guests. I don't know if anybody did, but having half of 55 as guests is good. And we don't have a date for August, but we will. Okay, there'll be a date for August. We'll have that date picked out by next week. Okay, next Sunday's call. So you'll have plenty of notice on that. But that is such a great way to build your business. Everybody likes to see a full screen. Everybody likes to see people that are into it and happy and smiling and participating. And when you think about it, it's only a half hour. I don't know what could be more productive in the business. Matter of fact, I just got off. Kenneth just got back from, he was in Greece for, I don't know, a week or two and just got back. But April and I were helping him with some leads that, that he was working on while he was away. And one of the ladies, a nurse up in Atlanta, just reached out, and she was in the process of signing up too. So, this is the time to get active, folks. I mean, it is, it's just a good time. And you saw the bell ringing. You saw, this stock is up from $3 to $5. We're about to get another patent. We're patent pending on the combination of the NRF2 and the collagen. And, the results from the study on that are just staggering, absolutely staggering. And for those of you that may have been around, I shared this with somebody yesterday. If you remember, and I know we have some Canadian friends on here, but we were in, I think it was Southern California where they introduced NAD. I think it was Long Beach or something like that, somewhere in Southern California when it got introduced. And everybody got really excited about that. It was a big month. It was a month that we actually ended up hitting Pro 8 for the first time because of the bump in volume from the NAD. But what we didn't know then that happened as the months went by is the effect of the Tri-Synergizer, the NRF1, NRF2, and NAD, and realize that, in some cases, not only did it work hundreds of percentage points better, but some things work thousands of percentage points better when they were used together. And now we have that test of a year now of collagen being on the market and being used with NRF2. And they have those studies, and it's patent pending. And patent pending, folks, means this, okay? It means we'll have no competition. And we may occasionally come up with good competition for some competition in collagen. There is none right now, but I'm not saying there won't be, but nobody's got NRF2. We own that. And the combination of having the best collagen, which we already got, and we have set the bar. I expect others to challenge us on the bar, but we have set it. And combining that with NRF2, that just means no competition. So we got a lot to be excited about, a lot to be thankful for. If you tuned in yesterday and your team didn't, to the virtual training, make sure you're sharing, the information of what you learn on that with your team. I can tell you not everybody was on it, and it's a shame because everybody should be on it. It's, either we watched it, we did something that we normally would end up being some sort of host or flying somewhere to do it with somebody. And we actually had the opportunity yesterday to be guests in someone else's watch party. And, it was nice. We saw Cheryl was up there too, but we had an opportunity to just, bring some food and go watch it in someone else's house up in the Villages. And it was great, and the information was great and the camaraderie was great. And actually we had a group commit to a 90-day run, which is probably going to end up being close to a 60-day run because July is over already, but to San Antonio, we're doing weekly meetings and stuff leading up to San Antonio, which is some of what they talked about, yesterday. So, but anyway, the launch, the virtual training. Okay. The one last thing I want to say is we have 8 days left in the month. And this is the time that you have an opportunity to run up the volume, run up the orders, run up the volume, run up the enrollments. And you want to look at yourself. And it's always a good idea to know exactly where you are, but you certainly want to see exactly where you and your team are on the 25th. Okay, after that last run goes out of subscriptions, you want to see where you are. And you want to be looking, and write this down, you want to be looking at your trip points. You want to be looking at your MVP status. You want to be looking at your 3-in-1 status, where you are with the gemstones. Are you close to Onyx? Are you close to Emerald? Are you close to Sapphire? Are you close to Diamond? You want to look at that, and you want to look at that for your teammates. And I see, I know Kenneth's on here, and Kenneth knows. Kenneth comes from a very competitive background, being an Olympic coach and business owner. But, I'm always pushing him because now he's got 2 solid months of being triple diamond, but he's got 8 or 9 days to go. And I'm saying quadruple diamond is in the works for him. Yeah. And for those of you, if you don't know what that is, quadruple diamond is 16,000 personal points. Okay. It's 12,000 right now, and he's over 12. Okay. To be triple. And it's only I don't know what's today, the 23rd, and he's already over 12,000. So, it's like, well, what the heck? You're already over triple. go for, and still got an auto ship day left on the 25th. So let's go for it. But you want to look at those things. And then, of course, overall rank, which you now hearing a lot, the company talk about paid as rank. Okay. And I'm not going to get into paid as and stuff, but we already know what paid as. When the month ends, you're paid as. Okay. That's how it is. And they're going to be doing more recognition now based on paid as, there's a lot of reasons for doing that, but the biggest reason for doing that is to give new people who are just achieving ranks the opportunity to be recognized, and not having somebody that did something 5, 10, 14 years ago taking up that time when maybe they're not working anymore, but somebody is really working their way through the ranks. And make sure the time is there to acknowledge the people who are running with the business in real time. Okay. And as you get bigger, as we approach 300 million, 400 million, 500 million in sales, you got to tweak those things a little bit, because at live events and even virtual events, there's not enough time to cover everything. So you really want to make sure that people are being recognized when it's been earned. But anyway, that's my 10 minutes. April, is there anything I need to do for you? Your slides went up okay, right?
I didn't put them up yet. No, I'll share them in a minute.
Okay,
Hey, good evening, everyone. So glad that you can join us. I do hope you enjoyed Saturday. I'm going to talk a little bit about follow-up, but I'm going to talk about follow-up for the no-show. And the reason is because if you're looking at the Big Blue calendar, or in your area, if you're fortunate enough, everybody's going to do what they call, a 90-day run, or all into San Antonio. So there's going to be a lot of meetings. We're going to do some local meetings, but a lot of areas are getting real excited about pushing in-person meetings, which is for the most part, different than a lot of us have been doing. We've been doing Zoom, so maybe we're familiar with how to invite to a Zoom and how to do that follow-up, but I'm going to kind of go through the in-person because, and let me share the slides first so you can see. No, it says disabled, Bobby. Host disabled.
Well, I can't help you. You're on the 3rd floor and I'm on the 1st.
No, you have to let me in.
What?
I'll just keep talking. All
I'll
right.
make,
you can
okay,
see
let
it.
me see if I make you a
Okay.
host or co-host, see if that works. Try it now.
Yeah. Okay.
Did it work?
Yep.
Okay.
Okay. All right. You should be able to see my screen. Do you see it?
Yep, you're good.
Okay. All right. And so that's a little ahead. Okay. All right. So I'm going to talk about the no-show, but in order for somebody to be able to get somebody to a meeting or to be able to get to the point of somebody not showing, some of the things that are going to be really important are going to be the conversation that you have to set this up. And the biggest thing you can have, and this is kind of a behind the scenes thing, and everybody does this a little bit different. It's going to be your posture before you make that call. So I wrote a few scripts here on, both for men and women on what you can do and stuff. But your posture before you get on the phone to invite somebody to an in-person meeting or you send them a text has to be right. So, don't do your inviting at a time where maybe somebody just sent you sometimes people send me stupid stuff, they Googled something that, was old or, they say stupid stuff or whatever. And if you're not feeling it, don't do it. But, here are a few scripts because we're going to need to do more inviting, either in person or on Zooms and stuff. But because we're doing this 90-day run or all into San Antonio, we're going to be doing more in-person meeting. And that gets a little bit more personal than when you think about, the inviting we've done on a Zoom. You can kind of send a text and hope they're on the Zoom, but I'll do the follow-up there. So here's one, and I want you to always make sure that your invite is clear to the person, that they understand why they're being invited to something. So here, and I did 3 different ones. You can do a lot of different things, and I'll explain why I did this one. But, hey, Debbie, I have a meeting Friday with a product I think you need to know about. So again, here, I'm not going to tell her about the product, but I'm going to tell her that, and we're friends, because if I'm picking up the phone or she's somebody that I'm going to bring to a local meeting, this isn't necessarily for a cold person. I can say that you're going to need to know about this product, but I'm not getting into the product. We're going to allow the meeting to do that. One of the things that we need to always do is allow the meeting, allow the Zoom, allow the video, allow the other stuff to do the work. It's not all on us. If we explain everything about the meeting before they go to the meeting, there's no reason that they have to go to the meeting. So if this is a product and maybe she's just into a product, I may say, this is a product I just know you're going to want to know about. There'll be a little business stuff there, but don't worry, we'll have a good time. You're going to love the people in the meeting. I would say something like that. If they're interested in some extra money, or that's kind of a maybe, I would put it out there, and if you like what I see, there's extra money that could be made. Would you join me Friday at 7? So one of the things that you could ensure somebody coming to a meeting is pick them up. Always works. If you pick them up for a meeting, that ensures that they're going to be there. So, this is just one form of an invite. The other one is, hey, Tony, I don't know about you, but I'm always looking at ways to figure out how to earn more money for, it can be to supplement retirement. It could be for sending kids to college. You can fill in, you kind of know, again, if this is a local meeting and you're inviting a local person, you probably know about them. It's really cool. A lot of people that have gotten to retirement age have their retirement set up. They've got income coming in, but they don't have like a lot of extra money to be able to travel freely or buy fancy things or whatever. So that's a great way to say, this is a great way for us to earn some extra money to travel or whatever. And then you kind of build up the meeting again. I'm not talking any product here. This is strictly like business opportunity. You can see here, there's a great guy or girl or person that you're going to meet at the meeting. They're into pickleball too, or they're into tennis, or they're into cars, or whatever you might be in. They love to travel. They just got back from wherever. Would you be open to taking a ride with me? So again, these are some of the scripts that you can use with people and fill them in a little bit differently. You're making them personal, but you can see you're going to sell the meeting, not the products, not the opportunity. Okay, so that would be one. And then here, this one is, I'm thinking of you, and this is meant on social, maybe to get somebody that you've met. I've met a lot of people locally on social. In fact, this is kind of a script I used for a girl that we just got on product that I'm hoping to invite to one of our local meetings. And I've been after her for a while, but I've been after her because she's really good on social and she doesn't do any type of business, and probably could use some extra income or maybe a shift in her lifestyle. So, I just say, I was just thinking of you, and you've always been super good on Facebook. And I just know, again, I'm applauding her, I'm patting her on the back saying, you would be great at this business. Would you be interested in joining me on a Zoom? Or would you be interested in, joining me for a meeting? Can I pick you up for a meeting? That type of thing. Maybe you come from two different ends of towns and you want to agree to go for a drink, get a glass of wine after the meeting. That's something you can do. You could do dinner before. All these things enhance, because it's kind of a friendship. It's a reputation, not a reputation, but a rapport that you already have. So you want to be doing that. One of the things is, make sure they say yes. And so, a lot of times, again, we don't have that posture. We have to make sure that they've agreed to go to the meeting, and we need to be clear on that. Particularly when people are online and they're agreeing to do a Zoom, I may ask them 2-3 different times or cement what I've been saying that, yeah, I'm going to see you Tuesday night at 7, or I'm excited to see you Tuesday night at 7. You kind of drill it home a lot, because the more that you make that person promise to do what you want them to do, the harder time they will be of not showing or not getting on that Zoom. And so that's very important. We want them to commit. Once they've made that commitment, they'll be there, even if they don't feel like it. We all go to things that we don't feel like because we said to somebody, yes, we would be there. So you want to kind of get them to say yes as often as you can, as soon as they agree to go there. And then remind them, the day before, the day of, if it's a Zoom, I usually like to do it a half hour before the Zoom. Remind them, because people are busy, lots of stuff going on. And again, I would just say, I'm so excited, that you're going to be joining us tonight, or I'm so excited, I'm going to be picking you up at 6:30. You are absolutely going to love the people in the room. It's going to be so exciting, that type of thing. So you want to remind the person, of the event. This is the important part, because sometimes we invite people, but the most important thing you could do is the follow-up. And just because they didn't show, it's poor manners. It's really poor manners not to show. But, I kind of heard something this weekend that just said, well, I'm sorry you couldn't come, but maybe you can come to the next one. That is lame. That is totally lame. Do not do it that way. If somebody told me they were going to meet me, let's say it was even for tennis, or they're going to meet me at a meeting and they don't show up, probably during the meeting at some point, I'd say, oh my goodness, are you all right? Where are you? If it's a Zoom, certainly after, I'm going to follow up as if they were already on the Zoom, but follow up immediately. Find out what happened to that person if they didn't show, maybe, and we've had this, maybe they got in a car accident, maybe somebody got sick, maybe something terrible did happen and you didn't care enough to follow up to make sure that they were okay. You need to think of it on that side. But just because somebody decided not to come at the last minute, and, our culture has gotten where people hate to RSVP for parties, they hate to RSVP for a lot of different things. It's like they don't want to commit for anything. But if they commit and said you were going to be there, I would just say, hey, oh my goodness, are you okay? Put it back on them. See what their excuse is. Again, they may have a valid excuse, but if not, you can just go ahead and rebook the event with them. If they said, babysitter crapped out or something, which again is all lame, but then you can go ahead and at least what you're dealing with. So you're going to go ahead and rebook. So that's in a meeting. If it's on a Zoom, I always assume they were on the Zoom. And maybe you've heard me say this before, and I'll follow up that night or the next day, depending on when we get done. And I'll say, wasn't that a great, Zoom? Did you see how important it is to reduce our oxidative stress or something, if we're talking about collagen or whatever? They will let you know that they weren't on the Zoom. Most cases, they will apologize or make up an excuse for not being on the Zoom, and they will ask you for the recording. So you see why this is important. This is, I guess, like psychology. You need to assume that they did what they said they were going to do. Assume it was great and they missed it, FOMO. They missed out on something really great. So you want to impart that on them. But then they're going to give you an excuse, and they will always ask if there was a recording. And hopefully that particular time, all the recordings went well, and there was. So you can just say yes, but ask them when. When are you going to watch it? Tuesday night? Great. Okay, that's perfect. Okay, so if I call you on Wednesday morning, you will have watched it. You see, I'm getting yes, yes, yes here. And then, I'm going to call them on Wednesday morning and make sure that they've watched it because they promised to watch it. Getting people to commit is more than just throwing the invite out there. It's this action along the way, and you'll find that it just makes it a lot easier when you go through some of these scenarios instead of, just sending a little text and say, I got a meeting downtown, will you join me? And you have to put a little bit into it with what they may want or who they are or your relationship with them. But again, the follow-up is the key, because a lot of times people won't show up. We say invite 5, 2 will show or something. That's fine. That's the odds. When you have only one person invited, and you're waiting on that one person, it's a horrible feeling. If you're building your business and you don't have people in your funnel, Bobby will tell you over the weekend, and a lot of these people, I forget. I forget where they live or whatever, but I happen to wish somebody happy birthday on Facebook, and he doesn't live in this town. In fact, he doesn't even live in this country, but we went back and forth, and I said, had you seen the new products? What's going on with the company and stuff? Somebody that had kind of looked at our business at one point. And then, he said, oh, I'm going to be in Orlando for Labor Day. Let's get together. I'm like, yeah, we'll get together. So I know he's got a vacation, early September, where he's going to be here in Orlando, and we'll spend some FaceTime. But again, that's because my funnel is full. There's always people shifting through, and maybe at the first time it wasn't the right time. Maybe they didn't see a big enough picture. The collagen is a game changer. I don't know if you saw the Zoom, the Pose did on Thursday night. It gave a whole different spin on collagen that isn't just your face anymore, your wrinkles, your sags, your jowls, that type of thing. They talked about sleep, they talked about mood, they talked about joint pain, they talked about the your intestinal tract. They talked about a whole bunch of different ways in which you can share collagen with different people. So it becomes, as soon as you get in a conversation with somebody, that you have this whole bag of tricks that you can share with this person on collagen and NRF2. And it doesn't need to be as sciencey anymore as NRF2. Of course, we want to use the two of them together, but NRF2 got too sciencey for a lot of people. This became mainstream when we talk about collagen and we talk about the testimonies. And I think it's Lisa Barnes is going to do something towards the end of August, again, going through all the different testimonies and stuff. So, again, this is just how to handle the follow-up, which is going to be critical as we do this show flow or this 90 days or 60 days to San Antonio, but you can really feel a lot of momentum. And this is a really good time that we're starting August, because here in Florida, the kids go back to school the end of August. So again, business starts to get busy. People get to get busy, but you kind of get your feet wet, your practice going. Again, you've heard me say, if you're not inviting all the time, you kind of get stale with your business. You're not in touch with your business. You didn't listen to Saturday's, Zoom there. So you're kind of out of touch with what they're talking about there. This is a good time when they talk about 90-day runs. In our industry, that's not just our company talking about it. There are major companies out there because they use 90 days because you can see we'll run through the next 90 days and then you're kind of exhausted. We get into the holidays. So that's why they do 90-day runs, work. And then you can take your time off to enjoy your family and stuff. So this will be a 90-day run for us to be able, but we're going into a good time because September, October should be huge months. finish up closing in November, and then you've got a great, great holiday. So we're just got the whole back end of the year lined out, and this is what we need to do. So again, these are just, you know, some tips on how to invite, but I'm going to close this out and then we'll see if anybody's got any questions. Okay. All right. We're back. I hope that was informative and helpful for you all.
You know, the one thing, folks, to keep in mind with follow-up, and it is the skill that everyone is weakest at. It's the skill that everybody hates to do because they fear rejection. But it's the moneymaker. Okay, it's the moneymaker, and it's the one thing that will always show and tell people that you care, that you're not just trying to get them to do something like a lottery ticket or luck or random, or, you know, it's the one thing that will show. And I can tell you, you know, I would bet on April over anybody in the world would follow up. Nobody does it better. And I've heard conversations that she's had with people and followed up, got to know them, years and years and years of a phone relationship that developed. And when they finally join or do something or get active, all they can do is thank her for continuing to talk to them and follow up with them and develop a relationship with them. So trust me when I tell you, there's nothing you could do for a person that's more important than following up with them. And, you know, it's the skill. If you want to work on a skill, that's the one to work on. Okay. And that's where the money is. And when you let, you know, if you drop things off for somebody, if you leave samples with somebody, if you are out at an event and sample, and then you don't follow up for days or weeks, what do you think they think of your thing? I mean, what would we all think of that thing? Okay. When somebody didn't care enough, you know, I had a really, you know, someone I really like as a guest last week when we did the launch. I'll see him Tuesday night again. It's their anniversary and we play pickleball. I'll see him again. But I followed up with him. As a matter of fact, when that launch ended, I was getting ready to follow up with him after it ended, and he followed up with me before I could follow up with him. And he does a lot of Zooms around the world. He's in the process of launching a multi-million-dollar company, and he's been raising money with investors all over the world. And he was, you know, he does a lot of Zooms, and he's very complimentary of how we ran the Zoom and how it went and how we stayed on schedule, and 30 minutes was 30 minutes. You know what I mean? We said it'd be a half hour, it was a half hour. And so we went, but you gotta, it shows people you care. So if you fear it, that's okay, but get over it. Okay, because that's what shows people you care. And you got to remember something about rejection. Rejection only means not at this moment. That's all it means. Now, if you don't follow up to at least get rejected, and that's a win, folks. Getting rejected is a win. Okay, if you don't follow up to at least get rejected, that means you didn't follow up and you never let them know that you really care. You never let them know. So when you do follow up, okay, they do know you care. And if that ain't the right moment, it ain't the right moment. But what message have they been left with? Wow, this person is okay. They care. They followed up, they checked in, they care, and there will be another day. Okay, because you don't even have to let the conversation end when it's not today. You could say something like, and you say this in your own term, your own words, but you could say something like, would you mind if I keep you informed as things develop or things happen in the coming months? You know, drop you a text or a message once in a while. That is always a yes. Okay, that is never a no. Okay, so you don't even have to end or hang up on a no. You just say, hey, would it be okay if I kept you informed as things develop? You never know what the future holds, something like that. And you close the call on an upbeat note and saying, thanks for your time. I appreciate you looking at it. I'll stay in touch. And the most important thing, don't be weird. Okay. If it is a friend, a neighbor, a relative, someone you go to church with, don't be freaking weird. You know, like if my friend didn't show up on the launch last week, I wasn't going to be weird tomorrow night when I see him at pickleball. Okay. And I wouldn't say anything other than ask him how the launch of his company is going. You know, you want to hear something that I never knew existed? I told April this. He was involved in developing Beats, you know, the headset Beats. So and I mean the developer, he's a smart dude, an engineer. So he came up with something on his own. There's 65 million millionaires in the world, you know, people that own planes and yachts and jets and stuff like that. His headset cost $25,000. His new form of Beats is 20. So I'm like, when he told me, I'm kind of looked, he said, bet you didn't think there was a market for those suckers, did you? I said, no, I can't say I did. He said, well, they have me coming to the Monaco Yacht Club show. You know, they have a yacht show where all the yachts are in Monaco. He met with some Saudi royalty, and those people are buying him 6, 8, a dozen at a clip. So it's like, you know what? It's just a market for, if you talk to the right audience, there's a market for everything. Okay. But, you know, follow up, listen to what April said, and don't be weird. You know, be caring, but don't be weird. So anyway, April, anything else, or you want to open it up?
Yep. Let's open it up.
Comments, folks, questions, anything that is on your mind, what we covered tonight or what you saw yesterday? Unmute yourself, by the way. Everybody's been muted. You got to unmute.
Teresa's message there was spot on. Don't sell with your wallet for the end of the month. I mean, you can push, but don't, you know. You always want to have their best interest in mind first.
It gets hard, you know. We know, at least we should know what we earn, or you know what happens if we rank advance or this or that. If you heard yesterday, there's going to start to be additional prizes, cash prizes for rank advancements, for maintaining and stuff, not only hitting but maintaining. And the key to me that I heard there was maintaining. You know, it's really easy. It's not easy to rank advance, but it's easy to really push the last couple of days to hit something once. But you never want to be you know, in music, they call it you know, what's that term, April? We say not one and done, but
one hit wonder.
One hit wonder.
yeah.
There we go. A one hit wonder. You know, you don't want to be a one hit wonder or a one and done. It's okay to stretch at the end of the month to hit, but then you want to keep stretching so the hit becomes normal. Okay. And it's a regular occurrence. So I'm really happy to hear they're adding cash prizes to the repetitive part of it. Okay. Because generally the first time anybody rank advances is because they had to pedal to the metal at the end of the month. That's generally how it happens, you know, or someone on their team had to pedal to the metal, you know, at the end of the month. But what else you got, folks? Don't be shy. All questions are good. The only bad questions are the ones you don't ask.
Any meetings you want to share in different areas? Home meetings, anything going on that we don't see on the big blue calendar? This would be a place to share it too.
I was going to ask, do we want to do anything as a team to do this 90-day run or 60-day run, whatever it is? whatever you want to call it.
Well, I think you're
Or just
fortunate,
do
'cause
it.
I know there's a Clearwater meeting going on already, the first or
Yeah,
something.
that's meant to be done in your area, and if you
Yeah.
don't have a group in the area, you need to become the group.
Yeah,
One
you know,
thing, they said, what they said Saturday, they picked 5 states. They say 5 cities, but it's not, it's 5 states of where they're starting. Florida will be multiple cities because one city couldn't do 8 or 10 in a row. Okay, that just wasn't going to happen in one city. So you'll have something on the West Coast, something in Central Florida, something up north that'll kind of be rotating around. But they're going to be looking for other areas to add to make that maybe 10 states for after San Antonio. But that's meant to be geography, okay, is what that is. So the way we can, and get back to Cheryl, the way that we can work as a team is to work as a team with our launches once a month. Okay, and make sure that everybody has guests on the launch and set a goal as a team here right now that when we do the next one, end of August, whatever the date ends up being, that we're going to do better than 55. We had 55 last time, so let's set the goal for 65 this time, or 70, something like that. And the new people that joined are included, they're on it and inviting guests, and they know what to do. That's how we can do that and really develop some synergy together. Okay, but we're in 3 different countries at least on this screen. It's like, we're not even in 3 different cities. We're in different countries. But anyone else, any other thoughts, ideas, comments? Was there anything in particular yesterday that really caught your attention, or you got a little bit confused with? Either way.
Are they still going to have the LVAs?
Yeah, the LVAs. What's going on, if you read a little bit between the lines, those are the 5 states that they're visiting, is where there's consistency in the LVAs. That's what's going on. And that number will grow. Okay. But if you notice where they're going, Sioux Falls has been on the radar for 14 years, Kansas City for 14 years, Denver and Arizona for 14 years. So those are the areas. In Florida, probably close, we're only in 5 years, but probably close to 14 years if you count Brandon and Fred, when they all started, back in the beginning. So, but yes, there's still going to be LVAs. I don't know if they're going to call them LVAs, but that's where they're all going now. That is the initial list right now. So
Thank you.
you're welcome. I'll tell you one thing that we can all do a better job with, and we were at Terry Tomlinson. Is that her name? We were at her house. She was in the Villages, and the one thing that we should all be doing is watch parties when there's a company Zoom. We should either be attending one that somebody's hosting and bring some food with you, something, be a good guest. Okay. Or if there's not one, then you should become one. Okay. So it's an either or. Either you're going to one and instructing your team to go there with you, or you're going to have one and have guests there to watch it with you, either teammates or guests or both. And we don't do a good job. And I'm talking about all of us. We don't do a good job with that. Okay. We let these events happen without any participation from a lot of people. We do that a lot. I will not embarrass anyone on here, but I guarantee you there's 30 people on here now. I'll bet you that 10 or 15 did not watch from anywhere on yesterday. From anywhere. Okay. They didn't attend and they didn't host. And because they didn't attend, they didn't pay, which means they can't even watch the replay. Okay, that's where we can do better. Okay, that area, because the company gave us that date when we were in New Orleans in March. So that date had been on the calendar for what, 4 months?
Mhm.
Right, March, April, May, June, July, 4 months, that date was there. So that don't cost money to do better. Okay, that's just a planning thing where it's circled on the calendar. And you're either going to attend one with your teammates, or you and your teammates are going to have one and invite guests. That's so we're not looking at plane tickets. We're not looking at hotel rooms. We got to do better with the virtual events. Okay, that's if we want to do business and earn money online, and we all do. Who doesn't want to earn money, online? We all do. Okay, then when the company goes through the time and money to put on an event, we as independent business owners need to take advantage of their efforts. See, and April and I have hosted for 31 years. So when we got invited to attend a watch party where we didn't have to, number one, didn't have to host it, and number two, didn't have to do it. Okay, where we could sit and watch, it was like, what a treat. We could just bring cupcakes and watch. It's like we have to all assume one of those roles when an event is coming up. Okay, to either host it, attend it, or bring teammates to it. Okay, and they're giving us a lot of notice. And based on what they said yesterday, there's only going to be 2 big virtual events a year. There's going to be 2 big live ones and 2 big virtual. So there'll be one main event corporately, quarterly, okay, that corporate will put on. We can all mark our calendars on that. And we're either going to be going to it physically, or we're going to be doing something virtually. And that's, if you want to look, and look, April and I were very involved on the inner workings of our other company. On the inside, the owners were our mentors in that business. So we were very involved with a lot of things there. And the biggest shortcoming with LifeVantage is the taking for granted of the things that happen automatically. And what I mean by automatically, we're a publicly traded company. We're debt free. We got a few million sitting in the bank. We take for granted when the company spends its money and does something. And we should never allow ourselves to take that for granted. And we came from the flip side of that, where when we had to attend, and this was mandatory for us in our other company, we had a dictator for an owner. But when we went to Dallas for 3 days, it was a school. And it was 3 12-hour days. And not only did we have to sit there for 3 12-hour days, sometimes it was 4 12-hour days if you were leadership, but you had to pay a $600 registration fee just to be there, and buy a plane ticket and a hotel room. And then if you're a leader, you're probably involved with doing some wining and dining with your team, to some degree, you got something going on. So LifeVantage does a lot of that now. It has a nominal fee on it, $100, $99, $25 for a virtual thing. We need to, and I said this last week, we need to believe in the business that it's going to be here forever, but we got to learn to start working it as if today is the last day. And whatever we got on our mind, we can't wait till tomorrow. You do it today. And that's the good and the bad of having a good, stable company with a good subscription program and all of that. It's going to be there tomorrow, next week, next month, and next year, but that's the devil in the details too, because maybe we, and I'm including myself in April, maybe we don't work with the urgency around the events like they did. We weren't here 14 years ago or 12 years ago, but I bet you that the people that were before they knew that LifeVantage was going to actually be LifeVantage like it is today, I bet you they worked as if it was the last day. I bet you they drive through the night if they had to get somewhere to do a meeting. I bet you that things were worked with more urgency 12, 14 years ago than they are today. How do I know that? We were part of a startup company 30 years ago, and that's how we worked. And our habits changed as we began making 20, 40, 60, 80,000 a month. It's hard to fake not having that money, because when we were in the business in the beginning, my company had gone bankrupt and it was all about the money. Okay. And when the money starts coming in, it's hard to continue to work like you did when there was no money. Okay. And that's probably what happened with most of the leadership from 12, 14 years ago. Those are your 8s, 9s, and 10s today. Okay. So we need to do what we got to do to get ourselves and others to the 7, 8, 9, and 10, or what we're calling now the executive ranks. Okay. And that's all. And it begins by just not taking, we host that launch, that college in business launch once a month. We always have. Okay. Don't take it for granted. Take it as if it's next month, it's the last one we're ever going to do. Now, I'm telling you, it's not the last one we're ever going to do, but if you invite like it is the last one we're ever going to do, you'll have 5 or 10 guests on it because you worked it that way. Just, I'm just talking off the cuff a little bit, but sometimes you get some clarity, folks. Sometimes the experience that we've been around looking at a newer company in LifeVantage versus, an older company that that closed and we left and came over here from, you get a clear picture of things. And if you want to know how we can all improve and improve fast, that's probably the single biggest thing.
Bobby, somebody mentioned about a watch party, there won't be another watch party for a while. So that's not really going to be an issue. The launch, you can invite a girlfriend over for wine. I mean, most girls will jump through hoops, invite me over for wine, I'm coming, sample a little collagen with them and stuff. And so nobody says that you need to watch that launch by yourself. And I'll tell you here, even, when we meet people on social media or Facebook, whatever, and they're local, I'll just do a little happy hour to get to know them somewhere. And we have a few distributors local. I know Lynn and Charlotte and them, they just did, a meeting. There were a few people there. It all starts. It's the fishbowl theory where you start small. It's you and one other person locally. You're not going to get somebody just to fly across the country to take a look-see. That doesn't happen until you really have some skill in this business. We used to get the doctors to fly across the country for a look-see on their dime. That doesn't happen normally. When you're building it with ordinary people like Bobby and I, it starts local. And you have to, you are the event. You're the event. You're the event for coffee. You're the event for happy hour. You're the event for lunch. It's you and somebody else.
You're the fun.
You're the fun. You're everything. And then you get one other person, and that other person gets another person, and you get another person. Now you got 4 of you. Then maybe one drops off. So now there's 3 of you. That's how it starts. And then the leader is driving people to the bigger event. So maybe there's something in that state or within 2 hours or something that you could drive through, and they see a bigger meeting and they're like, wow, this is really cool. I'll never miss another one. Then you bring that back and you tell everybody how great it was. But then the next one comes, and maybe it's the big company event, which, if it's not San Antonio, it's going to be a really long time. I won't even tell you how long it is till the one after that.
Hey, they said it's going to be 18 months.
Yeah. So you're going to have to build, and Catalina does a great job of this too. And some of you do, you have to build locally, grab arms with a few people and continue to add that. Because the minute even you stop bringing people to a meeting, everybody stops. They do what you do. So if you're the leader, you're continually bringing new people, and obviously it gets easier the more people. But in the beginning, it's you inviting your guests. It's you and your guests. You can invite them to the house to watch the launch thing at night, have some wine or whatever, or you can go meet them for happy hour if you don't know them, or, you're friendshipping with them, getting them in the business, and then you both go to work and get somebody.
I'll tell you, that is the single biggest problem, or you may want to say challenge, that LifeVantage and all of us in LifeVantage has. Okay, and even at the corporate level, folks, you know, they know come hell or high water, that they're gonna do 20 million a month in sales. It's gonna happen, you know, they're gonna have their 230, 240 million at the end of the year. That is a blessing and a curse. Okay, that is, you know, just like our subscriptions go out on the 5th, 10th, 15th, 20, 25th, and we have a certain number that goes out a month. That is a blessing and a curse. In our old company, we didn't have subscriptions. When the 31st ended and the clock went back to the 1st, we were at zero. Every month for 25 years, we started at zero. And, you know, it's now, again, obviously, we did over 200 million in sales with that company in our 25 years there, but you learn how to be consistent with doing business. But, you know, I think it programmed us well to not take as many things for granted. And, you know, not sit down. You know, the slowest period in LifeVantage is, you know, how we close the month, and most of us, it's, you know, you're closing right up to midnight, the last night. The dead period is the first 4 days in a new month. And until the 5th comes out, and then the subscriptions go out on the 5th and people kind of wake up. Do you know how much room there is for improvement? 4 full days of basically nothing going on until the 5th. You know, that's what, 12, 13% of the month is just dead space. You know how much we can improve on monthly sales volume if we make a point of getting busy on the 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th and start the month on the 1st instead of the 5th? You'd be amazed at what you could do with your team's volume by starting on the 1st. Okay, I track our business every day, you know, so I know what happens from the 1st to the 5th, and you know, we work real hard on it, and it's getting better. But that is a challenge because a lot of people are running right up to midnight on the 30th or 31st, and then, okay, I understand coming up for air after that. Okay, I get that. So say that's the 1st. Okay, come up for air. And then the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, get back after it again, you know? I mean, take the day to come up for air. And anyway, you guys didn't hang up on us. We're almost an hour. We love you guys. Hopefully some of this resonates with you. You get some value out of it. You know, when 28 people are on it when we start and they're still on at the end, that's a good sign. I'll be honest with you. That's a good sign. So thank you. Anyone else? Any last things? We got 8 days to close out the month. So let's give it a run and look extra close at your numbers on the 25th as soon as that goes out and we've all gotten our points and we know where we are. That leaves us with 6 days to close out after that. So have a good night, everyone. Appreciate you. Bye-bye.
Thank you, guys. Very good.